Juliana Sterling walked into the courtroom, they thought their status, money, and connections would save them. They were about to learn otherwise. She entered the room not as a defendant, but as someone who felt she was above the law. She was about to meet a man who values respect more than a designer handbag. What started as a simple parking violation escalated into a battle of wills that left the entire gallery in the stunned silence. But what happened when she finally pushed the judge too far? Stay tuned, because the justice delivered was something no one, especially not Mrs. Sterling, saw coming. Juliana Sterling lived a life of curated perfection in the most exclusive zip code in the city. To her, no parking signs were merely suggestions, and speed limits were for people who didn't have a brunch to attend. On a Tuesday afternoon, Juliana had left her six-figure Italian sports car directly in front of a fire hydrant. When the officer approached to write the ticket, she didn't apologize. Instead, she laughed, told him her husband paid his salary, and threw the summons into the gutter. That arrogance followed her right through the doors of the Providence Municipal Court. While other defendants sat quietly, Juliana was on her phone, sighing loudly and checking her gold watch every 30 seconds. She treated the bailiff like a valet and the courtroom like an inconvenience. She believed that Judge Frank Caprio was just another bureaucrat she could charm or bully into submission. Little did she know, Judge Caprio has spent decades seeing through the masks of the elite. To him, the integrity of the court is sacred. But as her name was finally called, Juliana didn't just walk to the podium. She marched. And the words she uttered before the judge even opened his file would set the stage for a confrontation that would go viral across the world. The judge spoke calmly. "Good morning. We have Mrs. Juliana Sterling." Juliana leaned on the podium, dismissive. "It's Dr. Sterling, actually. And can we speed this up? I have a gala committee meeting at noon, and I've already wasted 40 minutes sitting on these plastic chairs." The tension in the room spiked instantly. Judge Caprio looked up from his glasses, his expression unreadable. He has dealt with the city's most vulnerable, the poor, the grieving, the struggling. To see such blatant entitlement was a shift in the atmosphere. "I see, Rowan," the judge replied. "Well, Dr. Sterling, the charge here is obstructing a fire hydrant and, it says here, littering a legal summons?" Juliana waved a hand. "My car was there for 5 minutes. The officer was being overzealous. As for the paper, it's a waste of trees. Just tell me the fine so I can have my assistant wire the funds. I'm sure you have real criminals to deal with." "The real criminals, as you put them," Caprio said softly, "often show more respect for this bench than you are currently displaying." The judge looked at the police report again. His eyes narrowed. He noticed something Juliana had overlooked, a detail that turned a simple fine into something much more serious. "It says here that when the officer asked you to move, there was an ambulance attempting to turn onto that street. Is that correct?" Juliana scoffed. "It had plenty of room. They just like to make noise. Honestly, Judge, is this really worth the city's time? I pay more in property taxes than most people in this building make in a year." This was the turning point. Juliana thought she was winning. She thought her status was an armor. But in Judge Caprio's court, the moment you mention your wealth as a reason to bypass the law, you've already lost. "You feel that your taxes buy you the right to block an emergency vehicle?" Caprio asked. "That your time is more valuable than a patient in that ambulance?" "I'm saying I'm a busy woman with a reputation. I don't belong here with these people." The "these people" comment sent a murmur through the gallery. Juliana was digging a hole, and she was doing it with a diamond-encrusted shovel. But what the judge did next was a classic Caprio move. He brought in a witness that Juliana never expected to see. "Inspector," the judge said, "bring in the young man from the second row." A young man, barely 20, stepped forward. He looked nervous, wearing a worn-out delivery uniform. Juliana rolled her eyes, but the judge's next question would bring her world crashing down. Son, Judge Caprio asked, tell me why you're here today. I was the one in the car behind the ambulance, Your Honor, the boy said. My mother was inside that ambulance. She was having a heart attack. We were stuck for nearly 3 minutes because that sports car was blocking the radius of the turn. The silence was deafening. Juliana's face paled, but her pride wouldn't let her break. Well, how was I supposed to know? She said defensively. It's a public street. The judge's voice rose but remained controlled. It is a public street governed by public laws. Laws designed to protect the very mother this young man was trying to save. You stood here and told me your brunch and your gala were more important than his mother's life. The judge closed the file. The air in the room felt heavy. This was the moment of truth. Mrs. Sterling, you wanted to know the fine. You wanted to wire the funds. Well, the fine for the parking violation is $100. The fine for littering is $50. But the cost of your arrogance, that is much higher. I am not going to let you pay your way out of this. I am sentencing you to 40 hours of community service. And not just any service. You will spend those hours at the city's trauma center, cleaning the floors and assisting the families of those waiting for their loved ones in the emergency room. Juliana was stunned. You can't be serious. I'll have my lawyers. Judge Caprio banged the gavel. I am deadly serious. If you miss 1 hour, or if I receive one report of you being disrespectful to the staff there, I will vacate this order and you will serve 10 days in the county jail for contempt. The rich woman who entered the court with her head held high, left with her head down, shielded by her handbag as she avoided the gaze of the gallery. Her money couldn't buy her out of the humblest of tasks, serving others. Judge Caprio looked at the young man and waived his own parking fees, offering him a word of encouragement for his mother's recovery. It was a stark reminder that in a world often divided by status, the law should be the great equalizer. Mrs. Sterling learned a hard lesson that month. She learned that a title like doctor or socialite means nothing if you lack the basic title of decent human being. Justice wasn't found in the dollar amount of the fine, but in the humility of the service she was forced to provide. In the end, Judge Caprio proved once again that while you might be able to buy a fast car and a fancy suit, you can never buy a clean conscience or a free pass in his courtroom. What do you think? Was the judge's punishment fair, or did she deserve more? Let us know in the comments below. If you found this story of justice satisfying, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe for more Courtroom Chronicles.